meeting is being recorded.
So I'm getting a little ahead of myself on the curve here, but the Rebbetzin and I, my wife and I, were up late last night because we couldn't stop watching a movie. Anybody who has the Tubi streaming app, if you don't have it, get it, it's free. There's a movie on there called Loving Leah.
Oh, it's so good.
Are you familiar with it?
Yes.
A young man who's about late 30s, loses his brother who was an Orthodox rabbi. The older rabbis, the sages of the area in Brooklyn, contact the brother and they say, it is your obligation to do chalitza. Now, in the olden days, when a couple were married and the man died without an heir, it was up to the next of kin, the next older brother, or if you didn't have any brothers, a cousin, to basically marry her and create a son or an heir. Now, this ritual was eliminated about 2,000 years ago. The rabbis felt it was promoting sexual promiscuity. So they basically did away with it, but there is still that process and there is still a ritual when they don't go ahead and get married. So what happens is that they end up forming a relationship, and watch the movie, it was very good. It was a beautiful movie. Beautiful movie. We're thinking of having it here, showing it as a movie. Okay, let's do a little Torah study. And for those of you that were here last Sunday, you know what I'm going to speak about. And for those of you in the board meeting last night, you got a little prelude in that. This week's portion, it's a double portion. Acharei Mot, it starts out after the death of Nadab ben Abihu with the laws of the Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. It goes through that process, and it's a double portion. The second portion, which we will be reading tomorrow, is Kedoshim, means holy or holies. And it's a group of laws, seemingly unrelated, that God is now introducing to the congregation of Israel. So, I told you before that Torah is timeless. What happened 3,500 years ago is as relevant then as it is today. Case in point, chapter 16 of Leviticus, verse 19. I'm sorry, I got it turned around. Leviticus 19, chapter 19, verse 16. Thou shalt not, and this is Rabbi Hertz's interpretation, thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people. Neither shalt thou stand idly by the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. Next verse, 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt surely rebuke thy neighbor and not bear sin because of him. In other words, correct him when he's wrong or she's wrong and about to commit a sin. Thou shalt not take vengeance nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. There is nothing random about the Torah. Every verse, every word is there for a specific reason. The order in which it's presented to us is for a very specific reason. Consider the fact that these two verses are back to back. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand idly by, while the blood of thy neighbor or thy fellow is shed. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt surely rebuke thy neighbor and not bear sin because of him. Verse 18, thou shalt not take vengeance nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord thy God. Think of the flow of these sentences. We are first told not to talebear. And you can interpret that anyway, in a lot of different ways. I think here, he says that you shall not go up and down as a peddler. You're peddling in gossip. Words can hurt. Because what's right after that? Don't stand by idly while the blood of your neighbor is shed. Help some, help people. Help people out, whoever they are, whatever they are to you. But listen to the way the flow goes after that. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt surely rebuke thy neighbor and not bear sin because of him. Notice the way it goes. Don't be a gossip monger. Help out your neighbor. Don't hate thy brother in the heart. Look what evil speech does. The Torah 3,500 years ago recognized this. All this talk, I'm sorry about free speech. Maybe I'm getting controversial here. This is what it does if it's not watched. Every right that we have, God gave us responsibilities. People, some cultures denounce temptation. No, we don't denounce temptation. God gave us all these urges and desires, if you will. But he also gave us a path to express them socially and responsibly and morally. When you have a right, there's a responsibility. I think everybody can agree with that. Okay? When you have power, there is you're going to be held responsible for it. If you have the power of speech, basically watch what you say because it can hurt people. It can lead to hating people, and it can lead to vengeance. That's what this is telling us, isn't it? Isn't it saying, thou shalt not go up as a talebearer, up and down? Don't hate your fellow. Rebuke your neighbor who's about to do evil. Set him straight. Don't take vengeance. Don't bear any grudge. Love your neighbor as yourself. A very stern warning. And it all seems to stem, and correct me if I'm wrong, from don't be a talebearer. Don't go off shooting your mouth. People say, I've got the power of free speech. Yes, you do. Does anybody know that story about the rabbi and the pillow? You know the story? Okay. A man went and spread some gossip about a rabbi. Turned out the man was wrong. It was proven wrong. The man felt bad. He went to the rabbi. He said, Rabbi, obviously, I did the wrong thing. I shouldn't have said anything. What can I do to make it up? How can I undo this? And the rabbi said, here's what you do. Take a pillow and rip it open. Spread the feathers all over the place. When you've picked up every last feather, you will be forgiven. That's the story. And that's the way evil speech goes. It's in our prayers 3 times a day. We just read it. That's 3 times a day, every single day. Oh Lord, guard my speech from evil and my lips from speaking falsehood. People get angry. People get this sense of moral righteousness. And they want to go around and they want to go spreading the word. What happens when you're on the phone with a company and they do you wrong? What do? You hit the social media, don't you? Don't you hit Facebook and Instagram and Yelp and whatever else they got out there, right? Because you want everybody to know what horrible people those are. Now, by the way, that's against Judaism. Judaism would say you don't do that. They wronged you, you deal with it. You don't go around spreading and ruining their livelihood. You don't do that to people. My mentor told me that. So, again, with that speech, there's a big responsibility. The word for speech in Hebrew is tidaber or diber. Daber, right? We hear that. Daber Adonai Moshe Lemor. God said, diber, to say. The word for thing in Hebrew is davar. It's the same word, pronounced differently. It's the same word. Why? Because in the beginning, God created the earth by doing what? By saying, let there be light, let there be darkness. Let the firmaments happen, right? God said and it happened. That's a lesson to us all. Your words can create hatred. It can create an environment. It can create some horrible situations. You get people up there that are spreading hate, and everybody's just, it becomes a mob rule. And here it is. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand idly by the blood of thy neighbor. One leads to the other. It's not even a different verse. It's the same verse. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart, or thy fellow in thy heart. See? See how it goes right from one? Evil speech, standing idly by while somebody's getting hurt, hating that person. Make sure you rebuke them, set them straight. Don't take vengeance and don't bear any grudge. Don't get carried away by what you're listening to. That's this message. Could you imagine the world if everybody took a deep breath before they said the first thing that was on their mind? Could you imagine what our political system would be if people actually sat down and thought, what are going to be the consequences of what I'm about to say? Could you imagine a press room before somebody stands up and asks a question? And think, did you think this out? Is this the answer? What answer are you looking for? I'm not even going to go on about what they're doing on college campuses because I don't want to be controversial. But we all know what can happen. There is a cost to free speech. And what's that old expression? Don't write checks you can't cash. So the moral of the story, if you take nothing out of this Torah portion, take this out. Think before you speak. That's why there's a brain here in front of and behind your mouth. That's what it's there for. So let's remember that.
Rabbi, can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
Would this be just speech with your neighbor? If your neighbor's doing something wrong indeed, can you tell other people if it's something like really bad, or you just can't do that either?
Well, what does that say? It says, you shall rebuke your neighbor. You go to your fellow and you tell them. And you say it to them. Now, that's easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. But you find a way, you find an outlet, you find a way to make your point. I can see I've opened up a can of worms. Go ahead.
Yeah, not like if you go to somebody that you see is doing something wrong, and then you want to correct it, And sometimes we take pride of, of doing that, and then but we might think about it, what we have on ourselves also, instead of that's going to back up in our face.
Yeah.
There's an old saying, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
I never heard that.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I'll give you another one. You know what the definition of the word tact, T-A-C-T is? This really is kind of a play on what I'm doing, but tact, T-A-C-T. Telling a person to go to hell and making them feel good they're on their way. It's all in the way you present it. It's all in the way you present it. You know? You can really be brutal with somebody, but it can be done with love.
Yeah.
There's a whole Talmud, there's a whole expose in the Talmud about that. About, why do bad things happen to good people? And the idea is that because God is giving you this opportunity to overcome. If we approached life with the attitude that everything that happens to us, good and bad, it's not just a test. It's an opportunity to achieve. It's an opportunity to go beyond, to push your envelope, to push your boundaries. God does not want us to be safe and secure. God wants us to be uncomfortable because that's how we make progress. That's how you grow. That's how evolution happens. So when you get uncomfortable, you start getting creative and looking for ways out of the problem. Some people,
I think that's, you know,
some people escape. You know, Judaism believes in reincarnation. We don't talk about it because Rabbi Hertz, in one of his essays in here, he makes the point. He says, so what? You're here, it's now. What good does it do to think about what happened 1,000 years ago or what's going to happen in another 1,000 years, right? But somebody once made a comment. Do you know why suicide is not allowed in almost any religion? Because if you're killing yourself, you're avoiding responsibility, and you're going to get reborn, and you're going to have to go through it again and again until you get over it, until you get it right. That's right. It's like school, right? You're a teacher. You mess up in the 3rd grade. What do? You repeat it, right? And you keep repeating it until you get it right. Then you move on to the 4th grade. You know, existence is the same way, according to them. I mean, I can't prove that, but it's a good theory.
well, that's Kabbalistic. The tikkun, they call it tikkun.
Tikkun.
Tikkun, like when you, let's say,
Tikkun olam, when you're healing the world.
yeah, let's say that you hear and this and this, and then, but you're not, you don't complete, you know, your tikkun. You have to come back. When you die, you have to come back again and
Yeah.
start over until
Yeah.
you're done with it, and then you're out of this world.
There you go. Yeah. So you keep doing it, repeating the lesson until you get it right.